All right. How we doing, bro?
Doing great, man. I wish I also had a coconut as you, right?
I've got two, but they're both warm.
They're warm.
Can't have everything in life, bro. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, describe your life. What was it like before you joined Adonis school?
It was not, I didn't have any certainty. So I knew about self-improvement and I was already kind of doing it, you know? But it's like, yeah, I'm doing it, but like everyone else I know isn't doing it and I don't know anyone that's doing it. And yeah, there's a YouTuber out there and I watch him sometimes, but it's like, is it really the thing? Like all my family's telling me, yeah, you should do this and that, you shouldn't pursue this one way. So it was a lot of like, I didn't know, I wasn't certain. I didn't have this constant feedback of like people telling you, you're on the right path, you're on the right path. So that's why I could never stick to something longer than maybe 2 weeks. I would maybe stick to a disciplined path for 2 weeks and then look around and be like, I can chill a little bit more. There isn't really any competition. I don't know anyone that's on this path. Is this the right path? It was really uncertain. So there was a lot of overthinking.
Mm. What were your habits like back then?
I was still going to the gym consistently, so that's something I was able to stuck with. But it was just mindlessly like just watching YouTube videos, even if it's like the good videos.
Yeah.
I would just scroll a lot and I would keep just going back to the bad habits. And especially before I joined it on a school, I had a 2 week period where I just played video games straight, 10, 12 hours a day. I
Mm.
literally just went to the gym and played video games. And I even had dreams about video games. That's how into it I was.
That was my life literally when I was addicted to RuneScape for most of my life, like this
Yeah.
MMORPG game. And I swear I went to bed thinking, like planning what I was gonna do next in the game every single night for at least like 10 years straight.
It would freak me out, man. It was like a first person shooter, and
Yeah.
I would literally be in the dream. Like it felt like I was like literally the person in the game, like looking around corners and shit. And that freaked me out. And that was like the stopping point for me where I was like, okay, this is not, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember a really particular bad day before you joined? Could you just describe it to me?
Um, yeah, it was the day where where I deinstalled the video game and I looked around at the damage I've done. I just so I just finished school and I had a 1 month long period where I cut down to the lowest body fat percentage I've ever had been on, which for me was only like 13, 14%, but I used to be really chubby, so that was a goal for me. And after that, I had my 2 week period of just playing games. And while playing games, I didn't really notice the damage I was doing. And when I came out of it, I gained like 5 pounds, but like 90% of it was just fat. And I literally looked down and I literally saw the change. And I remember it scared me so much. And the bad habits of like being addicted to porn. And I remember the exact day I was sat there after I just deinstalled the game and I just looked around. I didn't know what to do. I have a gap year. I'm literally just sat there being like, okay, what's now? And then the bad feeling started creeping of like, oh wow, you just wasted like almost a month of your gap year.
Mm.
And I remember when I convinced my mom that I'm allowed to do this gap year and I finally was able to be like, yes, I can do it. I remember I almost like broke into tears because I was like, wow, I just basically from like 9 months, it's not even a full year, it's only like 9 months. I lost already 1 month.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I didn't go all in into this gap year, I would have to go to university or start a shitty career that I
Mm.
didn't want to do. And it really hit me, man. I was like, because as a child, the only thing always had was hope for the future. I was like, yeah, and the future's gonna be fine. But then, like, the reality started kicking in. I was 19 years old. I didn't do anything, and I only have 8 months left until I have to do something I don't really want to. And that was a turning point for me because it was just, yeah, essentially it.
Mm. What was the intention of the gap year?
Intention of the gap year was to grow my social media because I wanted to have a personal brand.
Mm.
And my vision for it was I'm gonna do all these amazing things. I'm gonna go on crazy hikes, do crazy challenges, go all into fitness, like so many things, and basically get to a point where this next year summer, I would either already be able to live by myself, maybe get a place in maybe my city or even if it's a different country, or have that much proof that I can like basically tell my family like, look, I'm doing okay. You don't need to tell me that I have to like basically force me into something where they believe that I am on the right path, you know?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the goal was online income during this point.
Yes.
Okay. And where have you got up to with that?
I started posting on social media. So when it comes to Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, I'm doing like my short content and also doing long form content.
Nice.
And I also have a product that I made already a while ago, but I'll be completely honest, I didn't have the courage yet to put it into like any of my bios because I would worry it would like maybe destroy my reputation or something like that,
Oh.
which still is a limiting belief because the product that I made wasn't that, so it's like a coaching package. So it's literally like the website and everything. I tried to set it up, but I feel like that I'm not at a point yet where I would feel comfortable sharing that information yet because I don't feel credible enough yet.
Yeah, a lot of the guys who are starting this business, they often don't, which is absolutely fine. If you really feel like you're not at that point to teach other people, then the first stage is just to keep sharing your story on social media. So you don't even try and monetize just yet, especially if you don't need to. Like if you've got till next summer, we'll get you monetizing like around April, the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Up until then, literally don't even have a product, honestly. Unless you've got some expenses you absolutely need to make money for. But then at that point, it's like get a job instead. But for now,
Yeah.
bro, just getting into social media and learning how to post good content, learning how to speak well, learning how to tell good stories, those kinds of things. Like that's a full-time job by itself. Trying to create a whole offer, a package, and then also delivering on the product as well, and then also getting actually like good product where customers actually like you and don't feel like they've been scammed. Very difficult to do. That's something to set up once your content's already awesome. Let's get you to like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 subscribers first. Then when you monetize, you'll be making like 1K a month, 2K a month.
Yeah, I had to think about the content specifically because that's I think a action step that I'm pretty proud of right now. I'm consistently posting and that's why I wanted to tell you. You gave me advice on a video with basically telling me what to do, and I did exactly that. And the first video that I uploaded now, after 2 days, got more views than my ever first video I did on the series in this whole month, in one day. And the impressions are like 10x.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's awesome. So okay, so we've got young Adam. You said porn, video games, ends up taking a gap year, joins Adonis school, and what's life like now?
It's it kind of feels like a video game. That's what I found interesting because when I quit video games, I was like, yeah, I'm not. Now it's like this boring thing of like, yeah, I have to do like the work things. But it's like I'm doing something that I'm actually also getting better at.
Mm,
And it's also correlated with my other goals with fitness and like self-improvement. So even though the days feel repetitive and it's basically the same thing that I'm doing every day, I have this feeling of like not only hope, but like I'm on the right path.
mm.
And each day I wake up, or let's say if I go to bed, I have a smile on my face, like literally, and I wouldn't have like the day from the outside might look like, yeah, he's having a boring life and it's not that fun. But it's literally like I finished all my work, I went to the gym, I trained, my nutrition was on top, and then I go to bed and I'm like just satisfied.
That's awesome. Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah. What was the feelings like, previously when you were going to bed? How would you describe how it felt?
I didn't even want to go to bed. That's the thing, because
Mm.
it was more of that, yeah, I'm gonna just I used to have nights where I literally would be up till the morning when the sun would come up and be so tired that I could just go to bed without even having to think about my actions, just trying to avoid like the reality of what I'm doing. Because I knew when I would try and force myself to sleep and sit there for like 10 minutes not being able to fall asleep, then the bad feelings would creep in. So it was like a constant run against time.
You know, you saying that reminds me of when I used to work full time. You know, in like 2019, 2020, I worked a job I didn't like. And I was doing like all the bad habits. I was jacking off, smoking weed, eating junk food. And when it would roll around to like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., I didn't want to go to bed because it was kind of like ending the pleasure and facing your consequences. And then also there's the weird depressing thing I'm sure you got, which is like, you know, you're going to be sleep deprived as well. There's nothing
Yeah.
pleasant happening tomorrow. Whereas now it's interesting when you do the right things, you kind of want time to speed up because you're like, tomorrow I'm going to be more muscular, more successful, more confident, more social, more attractive. I'll have more friends, more women. I'll make more money. I'll have more followers. It'll be another day in my YouTube series. Like, it's interesting. It makes you appreciate time, and it makes you appreciate like, you know, the day ending and going to bed with like a smile on your face. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I used to, when I was doing my bad habits, it was one thing I realized that time was my enemy, and now it feels like time is my ally. And that's what gets me excited because it's just time, right? If I just keep staying on this path, then time is on my side. It will prevail all the truths and all the outcomes.
Mm, that's awesome.
I wanted to add one more thing, which I saw an insane increase. So when I was growing up, the biggest struggle I had was I was raised by a single mother. My father died when I was 9 years old, so I lost a father figure, and it was basically a very, and my mom, she's a very feminine woman, so it's a lot of emotions when it comes to small things, like I remember the first time I got my driving license. Like I literally passed the test and like, I know how to drive. And when she's driving with me, she's literally like screaming at me that like there's a car on the right and I see it and she still screams at me. And I used to, because I grew up around her a lot, I used to adopt her fears, which
Mm.
technically would make me probably live longer. Maybe like like the chance of me living longer, but not me having an exciting life. And I had to grow up with so many fears. So even before I joined Adonis school, I had so many insecurities and fears that were holding me back from making even any progress. Like I used to be so scared, especially at the beginning. I wouldn't even have like a camera on purpose, so I wouldn't have to turn on my camera to show my face or to talk to people. And that's the biggest thing I realize is I would say 90% of my fears since literally I joined Adonis school 4 months ago are completely gone.
Oh,
The
nice.
fear of me talking to a camera, even being outside, I would, for example, if people would call me on my phone and I would be in a public space, I wouldn't answer it because I would be scared talking next to people. And
Mm.
now I can even like film myself with a camera walking next to people and being like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care about that anymore. And that made me able to actually start living basically my life. Like before that, it felt like I was restrained. I couldn't do things I wanted to do because of my fears. It was literally holding me back from doing the masculine things I always wanted to do, like going on crazy hikes and stuff. And now I'm finally at a point where even when my mom tells me like, don't do this, don't do that, I'm like, yeah, yeah, but I'm still doing it kind of in secret. Like how a 16-year-old healthy young man with a lot of energy would do, right?
Mm. Why do you think that happened to you? Like, why have you become more fearless?
So one thing has to be probably the community. When I make a post of like me showing my YouTube video and there's like five guys who gave me advice on and telling me like, oh, you should do this. And it's like 1 week after and I didn't do any of these. Like now there's like pressure. There's actually pressure to perform. And I have people now in this community that I have daily calls with. And it's like we kind of like tell each other, okay, so what did you do today? And you can't just like be like, yeah, I didn't do anything, right? There's a little bit of pressure now. Before that, I didn't have any pressure. I just had my mom around and she just would let me do whatever. So, first of all, that, and second of all, even if like shit would happen, anything would happen, I would be able to go to the community post and like post about it and have all the feedback of the boys and being like, yeah, it was actually a good thing you did, you know? I might have, I don't know, tried to cold approach a person and fucked up somehow, and now I feel like bad about it, and then I go to the boys and they're like, no, bro, good job. You like what you're doing is right. Like this confirmation. I feel like that has been able to push me, and the fact that there's people out there vouching, like voting for me and cheering for me makes it way easier.
Yeah, so you feel like the community's helped you.
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing. How about the courses?
So when I joined the community, the first thing I did is I went through the courses, and I really like the courses because it's not just, it's very detailed. It goes very deep in. So when I was taking my notes and everything, I would always have a little spreadsheet of the course with the name on top, and I would go through the course and watch it. And it would be things I didn't even know I needed until I watched the course. And then it was like, okay, that makes sense. Like if you want to build a personal brand, you need to know how to become a leader, how to make people follow you, and all these things. Like I always thought as a teenager, like I know everything, right? And I already know everything. And then I look 1 year later and like this motherfucker didn't know anything. So just opening like my eyes and especially the red pill course. I don't know why it is.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people in the community. They probably say the red pill course is the most helpful because it really like it shows you a side you've never seen before, which people don't even talk on YouTube, even Rumble, like these platforms that are like free speech. I don't even see people talking about things like that on this platform. So I would say the courses, especially at the beginning, really shaped my beliefs and the mindset I had when then I was interacting with the community.
Yeah, bro, it's so I made that course on the red pill, which, if anyone doesn't know, is kind of like attraction, like getting girls basically. Not really having a relationship with them, although some parts are covered, but more just like how do you get a girl turned on and really into you, which most guys have absolutely no clue. Most guys think it's like looks maxing or something when it's not. And the reason why that course particularly, most of our students say it's the most insightful, is because there's like 10 years of knowledge in there. Thousands of hours that I spent reading, implementing. And for me, like, I tell you guys, like, don't chase girls like I did. But I did for hundreds, thousands of hours. And now I've distilled it into like a 6 hour course for you guys. Which you've got to think that's insane that I went through thousands of hours in the real world. I got rejected. I went out and cold approached. I, I had girls at my place. I fell in love, got heartbroken. I had all these experiences, and I've distilled the most important lessons so that you get the lessons without the scars like I got. That's why I think knowledge is so powerful. But then, what would you say, or what would you say the difference is between the courses we've got in Adonis School compared to videos you'll find for free on YouTube?
Well, first of all, with the videos, it's, I mean, there's probably like videos out there that are like 40 minutes, but these courses are literally like, it will take you like days to finish them because it's that much information. So it's very detailed. That's what I would say. It really goes down to even the smallest things, and it's really broken down. And I also feel like, especially with the Red Pill course, it's with YouTube, especially, there's people don't say certain things
Mm.
that they might still believe in. And with the courses, it's like you have all the freedom and you can go as deep as you want to. And I think that's the important thing because it shows a different side of a certain topic that I feel like a lot of people at least need to hear once to just have an understanding about it. But then, yeah, what does it make? Like, what's the difference between YouTube? It's honestly more probably less dopamine as well. Like it's
Yeah.
not just like you need to actually pay attention and sit there. Like I will say it's for people who have a bad attention span. It is quite hard to go through the courses and stick with it because they are pretty lengthy, but therefore you get more out of it. Like if you watch a podcast, you will get more out of that certain topic than watching a 10-minute conclusion video on it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And yeah, as a creator myself, I'll tell you the truth as well. That the big difference is you've already bought the program, so I'm not trying to get like views or anything when I make these courses. When I make the course, the full intention is like, what do I say in here that will click in Adam's brain that will get him a win in real life so that it makes my product better? On YouTube, I'm afraid it's not that. It's like, sure, I want you to make progress, but also, just like everyone else, I also want to get views. So what do I say to hook retention? Like, hook attention to the end. How do I capture their attention and just keep delaying what I'm going to tell them? What should I say, which is PC and still going to get monetized and not going to get me a channel strike? YouTube and just content in general is there's a lot of bullshit, there's a lot of cover up. The creator is not making it just for you. They're making it mostly for them. And I'd say the best creators, it's like a 50-50. Like they're making it for their business and then also for their viewers. But in a course, it's like you've already bought it. I don't need a view on a course.
Yeah.
Like there's no
No CTA at the end.
yeah, there's nothing like that. The only CTA that I'll do, like the call to action, like the action step, it's not like, oh yeah, by the way, top link in the description, click the link and sign up to my email newsletter. It's like genuinely, I literally sit there and I'm like, what is a reasonable action step that I could tell them to take, that they're likely to take, that would get them some kind of fast win so they feel more committed to this topic that we're talking about. So there's a lot more pure intentions, and that's why when you follow a course, you're just so much more likely to get the result in real life compared to like how you used to watch YouTube videos previously.
Yeah, I really like that. And also there's with a few courses you also have the action steps at the end where you literally tell the people like what you need to do. And I have to say with the courses, what I appreciated the most is really like that raw, uncut, just advice given. Like it almost feels like you're getting like a private one-on-one class about a certain topic that you're interested in. And which is also funny, a lot of the course topics kind of work together. So if you do this certain course, it will help you with this other course as well.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, you've mentioned a couple times like the fact that it's unfiltered. Why is that so important to you?
I would say because it's unfiltered, it it feels like you, especially as a person making the course, and whilst talking, you because when you read off a script or maybe do a YouTube video which is scripted and filtered through, you have little cuts between it. You don't get maybe the emotions out of it as much, and also the whole point of it. When a video is structured to some certain extent, I feel like there's things that are said and things that are kept out. And with the unfiltered ones, you really get like the whole spectrum of it. You see the emotions, you see the full picture of it basically, and not just the conclusion. And these small little details that might not be important for like viewers' attention are important to understand like the whole context of it. And
Mm.
that's what I really appreciate the unfiltered ones
Yeah.
and this style of it.
Like this stuff I'm not gonna say publicly on YouTube, but inside here because 100 times less people will see this content, and it's more likely to be like my boys who, there's since there's just less people to learn from it. Um, it feels safer for me to tell more unfiltered stories. Like people think I'm unfiltered on YouTube and they've never even heard like the shit
Yeah, that's true. When
about.
when I went through the courses, you can't even compare it with YouTube anymore.
So you told me like one of the biggest parts of the transformation for you was the social anxiety. And you've mentioned, okay, you go on a call with one of our students. It's Caden, isn't it, that you go on a call with? Or,
Yeah, every day now.
that's fucking awesome. Did you have anything like this beforehand?
No, never. I used to have like Discord friends, but it's like you don't talk about these things with them. And the thing is, especially with these daily calls, the most important thing, which by the way, it's like we organize it ourselves. So we have like people just that we meet that we find interesting. We tell them, hey, hop on there, we can have a good conversation. And I talked just before that call, I talked to Alex, one of the members, and he told me that because he didn't know we were doing these daily calls, he told me that it is quite hard to be on this kind of unique path without having like a daily talk with your people, basically. We, I mean, we are social creatures, and if you get this repetitive affirmation of like, okay, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong, keep doing this and that, it's just way easier to stick with it, honestly. Like I feel like if you're gonna put, for example, if you're in the army, you're surrounded by all like people, you're not gonna be like sitting on the back, like saying, no, no, my foot hurts, I can't go on the run. Oh, you go on the run. It's way more likely that you will stick through the hard boot camp period because there's other people around you, literally right next to you in proximity. Now, of course, I can't be like in proximity with these people right now, but just having a call and seeing them with a face cam on every single day honestly is so important because you will have days where you question yourself and negative emotions will start kicking in. And you basically get a second brain that almost thinks almost like you, telling you, no, 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 you're doing this wrong. Do that. It's honestly powerful.
Mm. That's gotta be so insane, you know. You know, sometimes I actually get jealous of you guys. I know I'm jacking my own dick here, but like I genuinely believe like Adonis School's fucking awesome. And I didn't really have anything like this when I was your age. To have like let's say you want to grow on YouTube, you literally get advice from a guy with 2 million subscribers. You want to
That's
improve
insane.
with like dating, in relationships, in sex. You literally get a guy who spent like 10 years obsessing over this shit, like an autist. Like I've split tested Tinder pictures. Like, I mean, and I don't want you guys to become degenerates, but that's actually part of the culture we have in there, which is like I tell you not to, but I also tell you how to like vet, how to vet a good girl. I tell you the dark, like dirty stories you need to hear about girls, which it reminds you of like, oh yeah, like you wouldn't even like you guys wouldn't know which girl is a hoe or not. I would. This is why I make these courses so that you can find out as well. And like just everything we cover and then the fact that I've brought you guys together, it's just I genuinely think it's so incredible what you have here. And then someone like you, like you're the first person I've interviewed because I know about you and Caden doing the daily calls, which I just find so inspiring because you're actually making the most of the opportunity that you have here. And of course you're paying for it. Of course it's like it's a value exchange, of course it is, but like it's the point of an entrepreneur making a product is that you want the customer to get like 10 times more value from what they're paying. Like the $100 a month that you pay, that would like weirdly disappear in your bank account over the next few months of just, random bullshit purchases that come out. But when you've invested into something like this, it's like you've got a lifelong friend now. You've literally got a guy
Exactly.
you speak to every day about this, which
That's
is just awesome, man.
that's also what I wanted to mention. So like this video will be published for people also who are not on it underscore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's an investment in yourself that will stick forever. Like it won't go away. The people you meet, when you do it right, when you actually connect with the people and do the action steps that are told in the courses, you will literally like everybody that watches Hamza's videos is on self-improvement. Most of them, hopefully. And it's like everybody's looking for this one friend, this one guy that they that is also on self-improvement, has similar interests. It's literally here. Like you have
Mm.
people are all around the world. And I found it so interesting because all these people are from different places. Like Elijah, for example, he lives in Guam. He's on the fucking other side of the planet. And he thinks exactly like we do. It's like almost like a brother. Like he lives next door. He grew up the same way we did. We're all so similar. And being able to find these people, connect with them, and talk to them is like a li lifelong investment, right? And the knowledge, it's not like you pay 120 bucks a month and then next month when you didn't pay, the knowledge is gone. No, of course you're gonna keep it. So I would say like the best investment you can do, especially like as a young man, is like literally invest in yourself because
Mm.
you're your greatest asset.
100%.
And the community especially is probably the most beneficial thing. in it on the school. Because not only are you getting all the information that you need to start your journey, but you can literally make a post and in 10 minutes you'll get advice from a person in that community specifically on your desired topic that you wanted to talk about. And the community aspect of it is the strongest, honestly.
That's awesome. I've got one last quick question for you.
Yeah.
What one word would you use to describe yourself before you joined?
Uncertain.
How about now?
Certain. 100%.
Fuck yeah. Appreciate your time today, bro.
Appreciate it.
Nice one, Adam. We'll talk soon, yeah?
See you.
Nice one, brother.